Welcome back to another episode of the Real License Podcast. We're back in New York City, back stateside. Last week we were in Toronto. We know St. Thomas people were there everywhere, doing all kinds of things. On today's show, we have a young lady who has survived some circumstances back home growing up in St. Thomas, Jamaica. Some situations that could have derailed her life, but she survived. And she's on the verge of being one of the biggest entrepreneurs in New York City. She's about to take the real juice industry by storm. And she's live and direct from St. Thomas, JA. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Miss Kishana Mills, New York City's youngest buzzing entrepreneur, straight out of Paul Bogle country. Welcome to the show, madam.
Thank you for having me.
So you know what the program is about, so into it, early beginnings, early life. Where were you born in St. Thomas exactly?
Well, I was born in Duckensfield, St. Thomas. Then I went to Johnson Mountain to stay with my grandparents.
Oh, Johnson Mountain, okay, far east in the hills.
Yep.
A real country
Where
girl,
you get
right?
the best fruits and vegetables.
Real country girl.
Yep.
So early education, where did you attend school?
Well, I did Johnson Mountain College, and then when I was about 10, I decided I want to go live with my mom, who was living in Morant Bay.
Mm-hmm. But before we get to all age school, like you remember your basic school?
Mm-hmm.
Which basic school was that?
Johnson Mountain.
Johnson Mountain? Okay.
Yeah. As for my brothers, they went to Bell Rock in Duckensfield, but I went to Johnson Mountain Basic School.
Okay.
I don't quite remember the name of the two ladies, but they passed on now. I'm visually seeing them, but I don't recall their names.
Oh, okay. So a lot of time has passed.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So for Mark Bay College, I do remember Mr. Higgins, but notably remember brothers Papa Sterling.
Well, hold up. So let's slow down before we get into Mark Bay. So you're still in Johnson Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
So when did you make when and why did you make the transition from far east up in the mountains to Mark Bay?
When I was about 10.
About 10. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I decided I want to live with my mom. My mom was a nurse at the Princess Margaret Hospital in License. So we lived at Iberry Crescent, which is off License Road.
Mm-hmm.
And but we went to Mark Bay College.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. And give me a little synopsis as to what life was like for you coming from the hills, Johnson Mountain, Duckensfield area, coming to Morant Bay College. that has to be a culture shock. Or was it, making that transition?
It wasn't a culture shock for me, but it was to my brothers because I wasn't as polished as they were.
Oh, okay.
And I was like kind of always bossy and in demand and in charge. Mm-hmm. So coming there, people met that personality, especially guys. They didn't like it, so I would get into fight with guys.
Oh, okay.
Like,
okay.
Who are you? You so pushy, or you so, I don't know. But guys didn't like me.
You getting a lot of fight with guys.
Yes.
Who were some of the teachers at Morant Bay College at that time?
Well, Mr. Higgins was the principal, but Papa Sterling was my teacher.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. I remember Mr. Sterling.
Yes, I still go back there and see him. I go and look for him at Church
Oh, he's still alive?
Yes,
oh,
yes,
okay.
yes,
Okay,
yes,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
Every time I make it a trip to go see him.
Oh, okay.
Because Mr. Sterling was one of those persons who would teach you extra lesson without money.
Okay. For free?
For free.
Okay.
Without money.
Okay.
For free.
Yeah, okay.
So those people, you have to remember them,
Okay.
You
Papa
will tell
Sterling.
my mom.
Big up to Papa Sterling.
Yes, money or no money, send them come.
That man is a legend in his own right.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And then,
so when common entrance came around, I didn't pass common entrance, but my brother who wasn't in school passed common entrance. Can you believe this? So he went to Mark Bay High School, and I went to Seafort.
Okay.
And
talk to me a little bit about life at Seafort High School. Was it Seafort High School then, or was it Seafort Secondary?
Yes, it was the first year that Seafort High School became an high school.
Okay.
Also St. Thomas Technical.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I did practically 2 years at Seafort. I went to Seaforth High School in 7-4 because I didn't get common entrance. 7-1 and 7-2 were for the students who got common entrance.
Oh, the bright people.
The bright people.
The so-called bright people.
They were really brilliant people, man. But by the time I did
Don't worry about me. I'm starting drinking my natural juices early because I got a whole lot of them to try right here.
Right.
Go ahead. So
Okay.
Seaforth High School.
Right. So Seaforth High School, I went there in 7-4, which is level 2 of the students who didn't get the common entrance. So 7-1, 7-2 were for who got common entrance. 7-3 and 4 was for who didn't.
Okay.
And so, but my first exam, I aced it. So by the time I finished 7th grade, I was in A2. And I continued to 9-1, but by 9-1, I became
So hold
pregnant.
on. So before we get into tragedy and traumatic stuff that happened to you as a teenager, you didn't pass your common entrance. You started in the so-called not so bright streams, the classes. Then you made it to
The brighter
streams, A2, and then by 9th grade you were in 9-1,
Right.
the brightest class for someone who didn't pass the common entrance.
Yep. I was with the
You
students.
see
who
that?
passed
Not
common
everybody
entrance.
is good at taking tests.
Yes.
Okay.
I had to learn that.
Yeah.
I had to learn that. That not because you're smart, test taking is another skill that is required to do that. So now you can't give me a test when I can't pass.
Okay.
Because-
so you took that experience and turned it into something positive, and realizing that test taking is a whole nother skill. Yeah, a lot of people come under pressure and fail stuff that they would normally pass. So.
Or also you have to command a lot of stuff in a short period of time to put it on the test. And you can command it and then leave it afterward. You don't have to try to make sure it's a long-term memory thing.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
So even I remember getting my driver's license. I only did 2 or 3 classes. And I said, what is required? And I just cram that and go and do the test.
Okay. A lot of people cram and, well, they're not necessarily bright, but they're good crammers.
I think that's what I am. I'm not necessarily bright, but I'm a good crammer. Get it over with.
Oh, okay. So, who were some of the teachers at Seaforth High School at that time?
How old am I?
Was Miss Crosman principal?
Oh, yes, Miss Crosman was principal.
Okay.
Miss Marriott. Oh my God, there's so many names to remember, but there's this lady. She stood out so much in my memory because she was our home economics teacher at the time. And I remember even coming to America, I had the book from that lady's class.
Okay. The textbook from her class. Okay.
Not the textbook, but the notes.
Oh.
She taught us how to bake, and she gave you every reason why a cake would befall, would go bad. If it's not enough water, but whatever it is, she crammed all of that. And I knew that was something for a life skill.
Okay. Yeah. You remember her name?
No.
Maybe you remember before this interview is over. So.
Yes. But one thing I can remember with the teachers at the time, they were very particular in giving themselves to you. Yeah. They were very particular in giving whatever they had in their capacity that they could unload to us as students, whether it was their personal money to give you as lunch money or, the unfortunate kids. Yes. Even my 7-1 teacher, she kept the class until I think they graduated.
Okay, so 7-1 all the way up to 11-1. Oh, okay.
But remember, I wasn't there until then.
Yeah,
but the same thing for 9-1.
Okay.
But I really don't remember the names of those teachers. It's really a long time.
So then, at a certain point, at about 9th grade at Seaforth High School, you had to transfer to another school.
Oh, yeah. At 9th grade, I became pregnant. So I went to St. Thomas Technical.
Okay.
Like, I didn't waste any time. Right after having the baby, within 3 months, I went to St. Thomas Technical, which was not so well received by a lot of the students there, but I did what I had to do,
Okay.
And I got my CXCs, and I was ready for college. I was pregnant again. Yep.
So by the age of 18, still a teenager,
Oh yeah.
you were a mother of two. Um, you want to speak a little bit about that, like, for people who are young and in school right now. Of course, you survived it. You're doing well for yourself right now. But what advice would you give directly to people in high school back home now? Seaford, St. Thomas State, Mark Bay High School, wherever, when it comes on to men and boys and taxi drivers and minibus drivers and all those things?
Well, it's something that goes on in our community that is not spoken about. Young girls getting involved, sexually, even boys too, but they don't have the baby. So.
No, we don't.
I don't encourage it at all. You rob yourself of a lot of opportunities that you could have partaken, and it derails your life because you're not only now a child, you're a child, but a parent, and you
So
don't
you're-
want
So kids having kids, you know.
you don't want your child to have a less life than you had. So you're not even employable.
So let me ask
So
you.
how you take care of this child?
Exactly. So let me ask you a question. I'm quite sure you admit fault and you became a teenage mom. What do you think was one of some of the primary reasons for that situation?
Exposure.
Explain that a little bit. Exposure in that
As I said
too
earlier,
much too young.
as I said, this is part of what goes on in our community that is not spoken about. There are adults who may have seen what was happening, but never said anything. As well as for me, I didn't go to adults and spoke about what was happening because you're afraid of the backlash. So you take whatever was happening to you and you write it out. And I think that's one of the thing with me. I'm one of those people like what the young lady sing the song about saying you can't ball in a life, man. Just roll with it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So I'm kind of that kind of person. As I said, when I came to Morants Bay, I had a command of myself. So having that command of myself, people would take me for a older person than my real age or stuff like that. And so when anything happened to me, I never run to parents.
Were your parents around or your parents was already abroad?
Well, no, my mom was around. My mom was around, but my mom was a single mom with 5 children. I was an only girl, and I imagine what it would have been to put that pressure on my mom.
Okay.
So I dealt with it, but I didn't realize that it would evolve into another child.
Okay.
But and I had sense. As I said, I was a very smart kid, but I never understood the streets. You're smart academically, but you don't understand the streets because prior to coming to live with my mom, I was very shielded. I was with my grandparents, and I was very shielded from a lot of knowledge. So getting this exposure now, where I was on my own most of the time, people had access to me. So based on that, this is how I got exposed.
So you get it? So her advice is stay in school. Don't do what she did. But anyway, we're gonna move on to brighter things. So you went to St. Thomas Technical. By you were 18, you had 2 children. You still went on and got all your subjects. And your first job was where?
Well, actually, my first job, because my first job was in Kingston. Yeah, my first job was in Kingston. And my first job was at Burger King in Kingston.
Okay.
Yes,
So
yes.
you decided to fight the good fight and
Oh,
go
yeah.
find yourself a job. And,
Absolutely.
because you
And then after that, I came back to St. Thomas, and I realized I was working at St. Thomas Health Department in the clinics.
Okay.
And then I said, oh no, I was under the art program.
Okay.
And I said, no, I want to be a trained person. And so I went to Duff's Business College, and I couldn't afford it. So then somebody saw me, Miss Bryan. She was a friend of my mom. She used to work at Stone Hill as well. She lives in Prospect now.
Okay.
And she said, why don't you come to Arts? And I said, how do I do that? Because right at this time, I was applying to dental school. And even though I was qualified to be a dental nurse, to do the dental nurse program. I was applying to do the dental assistance because I know my responsibility. I had the children, and how much can parents take on?
Okay.
So I was always commanding myself, making decisions that were maybe not my decisions to make. So I always kind of put my own foot in my own mouth. You get what I'm kind of saying? Yeah. So she brought me to Heart, and when I went to Heart, I did what I had to do, graduate top of my class again, and I started working at Yallas High School.
So you had something to do with like several different high schools in different capacities. So as a student, you were at Seafood High School, St. Thomas Technical, and then you started working at Yallas High School. Okay, what was your role there?
I was working in the bursar's office.
Oh, okay. And how long did you work there for?
Like 3 years, and from there I migrate.
Okay. So what time frame was that when you made the transition, from that transition that so many of us make from Jamaica to New York City?
I remember when I came to New York City, I was 27 years old, and it was January 28,
Oh, God.
2002.
The coldest month of the year.
Yeah, and I remember when I came here, my mom said it's going to be cold. And I said, is the sun going to shine? She said, no matter how shine the sun is, me say it go cool, dress warm.
Okay. And
So I had to learn to dress.
what are some of the jobs you did here in New York before you embark on this wonderful business that we're going to soon talk about?
My first job again was Burger King.
So you got a thing for Burger King, huh? Burger King in Jamaica, Burger King in America.
And to date, sometimes I pass Burger King and I'm like, a long time I'm not eat one Whopper. And I would go and get my Whopper because it brings me back that memory,
Okay.
Not such a meat eater anymore, but if it's even for eat a beyond burger, beyond Whopper, I still go get my Burger King. All right, and from there, I did remember my son said to me one day, Mom, when you're in Jamaica, you did such a good job. I know you come out foreign, I work at Burger King. And I said, son, I understand, but don't be embarrassed about it.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, when I can do better, I'll do better. And so I went to trained as a nursing assistant, and I work at my mother's job, daughter of Jacob's, for a year. And then I said, that's it. My mom said, so how you gonna manage your rent for pay? Because I moved out. I had my own apartment. Blah, 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 blah. I said, I don't know, but I'll figure it out. And but I had money saved up.
Okay.
And by another month, I got another job in the hospital. And I stayed at the hospital for 16 years.
Oh, okay.
During that time, I sent my children to school, take care of my grandparents, travel back and forth to Jamaica. And in the last 4 years being in Jamaica, being in the hospital, I decided this was it. I needed to do something different. But I was thinking prior to this thinking, I was studying nuclear medicine. That's where you use radiation to do diagnosis.
Okay.
And I came close to graduation and then I quit.
Okay.
But prior to that, no, I decided if I wasn't finishing up that degree, because of financial constraints, it's kind of very hard to go to school full time.
Trust me, I know.
Yeah, and I had a mortgage and all of that. And even though the children were now past 18, some were in college, and you still have to carry a lot of finances. So what I did, I decided to go to York and to do public health. And right away I got through and I started doing some classes. And I remember one day as I came down to get something to eat, I was praying and I said, Lord, I ask you for a turn. And I have so much knowledge and resources and understanding of different things. Let me put all of that into something. Let it not waste. And like a voice said to me, I gave you the juice. I said, the juice? How's the juice going to help me?
Okay.
And then right in that minute, I, saw this vision where the juice was at a wholesale level going into stores.
Okay.
And I had to really bow down and say, Lord, I'm sorry. And from then, the same voice said, you'll have to just work at getting it to that level.
So your son, one of your sons had something to do with the decision making to going into the natural juice business, right?
No, that's not actually
Okay.
the decision making. The juice came about from my son. They had gone to Monroe College in Jamaica for high school. And when they came back to the US, he said to me, Mommy, make the juice we got in Jamaica. So I said, juice in Jamaica? What juice you talking about? Juice is in the fridge, boy. Go sit down. You know how those juices to make?
Okay.
But anyway, I would make it here and there to appease them. And when I did that, not only them, but their friends and then family, everybody appreciated it. And so I started doing it more. So it was just a pastime. So I didn't see it as a job. I didn't see it as something that could propel me, in that instance. So when the whole idea came about, that I should embark on it and this is what is going to really do something for me, it was not planned.
Okay.
But it was my son's idea that made me started producing them.
Oh, on a bigger scale. So, I saw something in the public space, social media space one day about, this natural juice business, and I'm like, well, I know who that is. I know her, so why not, come through and feature your business on the platform. Oftentimes, this is a question I want to ask about natural juices, because oftentimes you go into these stores and you see these labels that say natural juice and people are like, they're not really natural. How do you know, besides taste, and a juice is natural? And number two, what are the differences between pasteurized and other type of juice? Because I know there's different levels to it. Explain to it.
That's a lot of questions in one right there.
Yes.
All right, but how do you know? It's somewhat hard for you to know if the juices are really natural. You kind of have to take the brand for what they say.
And that's,
because from what I know in science, you can engineer any flavor.
Okay.
You can engineer any flavor. So that's a really good question.
Yeah. Because, oftentimes you see 100% natural, but is it really?
But when you read the label is what tells you what it really is. For every product, you have what is known as an ingredients panel, right? And a nutrition panel. All right. So you read the ingredients and it should be true that whatever the ingredient says, that's what it is.
Okay.
All right, and the most is the first one.
Okay.
So the most, this says water. So the most thing is in this is water. Then we have passion fruit. So how much percent of it is passion fruit? How much percent of it is water? How much percent of it is guava? How much percent of it is sugar?
Okay. So explain the difference between pasteurized. Because I was in a store recently, and there was this warning that says, this juice is not pasteurized. So explain what that means.
All right. So if it's real fruit juice and if it's not pasteurized, it could have health effects on the pregnant or the person who has, morbidity going on with them, some kind of ill health. All right. Because fruits are always breaking down, right? So if it's always breaking down, I mean it's always evolving, it's always changing. All right. So if it's not pasteurized, it's not stable.
Okay.
So these are pasteurized juices, right? Because I do them at a wholesale level, so I can't afford for them to be on shelf for 2 days or 3 days. They have to be on shelf for 2 weeks, a month, 3 months, 4 months.
So pasteurized juices have a longer shelf life.
Right.
Oh, okay.
All right. So you have refrigerated pasteurized and unrefrigerated pasteurized.
Got you. Okay.
Right. So it's a whole school you have to go to really understand all of this.
Yes.
You understand? But what I always tell people, what you do at home is best. But when you're on the go, on the road, you go for pasteurized, refrigerated.
Okay.
Pasteurized, shelf stable.
Okay.
So these don't have to be refrigerated.
Okay.
The glass bottle makes them stable.
Oh. Okay.
So most times when you see glass bottle, it's shelf stable and pasteurized.
Gotcha.
Because for products to be at the wholesale level, it somewhat has to be pasteurized. So for those ones that are not pasteurized, the shelf life is 3 days, 5 days.
Okay. Oh, got you.
So you have to have a really good turnover to keep up with that kind of market.
How long have you been doing this? How long have you been in
5 years.
5 years. And you are, at this point, you're local in the New York area. Where can people get your juices? Where in New York, New Jersey area, where can people get your juices?
All right, that's a good question. Yes, if you're in local Queens, you can quickly get it at the Rock, Jamaica Breeze, Patmar, those stores. But if you're in the Bronx and stores and areas like that, it's not so easy to get the products because we are not at a large level
Yet. And she's
We're
working
not-
on that.
Yes, we're working on that. So what we're working on to get us at that level is our pasteurization process. Currently, we're doing what is known as a hot process, a hot fill. So that makes us only have a 2-week shelf life. We're working on 2 other processes that could make us have a 4-month shelf life, 3-month shelf life, 6-month shelf life. We have not been able to completely financially get that on the go. So once that happens, we'll be able to do 10,000 bottles. We'll go through what is known as a co-packer because that has outweighed the capacity that we can carry. So that's why we haven't gone at a bigger level because the equipments and stuff that requires that level, we don't have it.
Yet. Yeah.
Okay.
So, tell us the name of the company.
Okay. The name of the company is Tropical Harvest Slushes and Juices.
So, Tropical Harvest, Lushes and Juices.
Slushes and juices.
Slushes and Juices.
Flavors you know and love and the nutrition you deserve. Because what will with the hot process, hot fill process that we're currently using, it limits the nutritional level
Okay.
in these products. But the new process that we will be using retains the nutritional value.
Okay. So, we're going to talk now about some of the flavors. Currently, I'm drinking, this one is the Guava Passion.
Fruit.
This is delicious. You might want to try this one first. Guava Passion is very good.
All right, and you have the Jamaican ginger sorrel. You have it in the 16 ounce and you also have it in the half gallon.
Okay.
This is the Guava Passion fruit.
Okay.
And then you have the beetroot and lemon. And then the pineapple ginger. The same thing, you have them in the 16 ounce and the half gallon.
Okay.
As for the pineapple ginger and the sorrel, you have them in glass bottle, shelf stable, don't have to be refrigerated. So you have them in 16 ounce. We also have half gallon, we just doesn't have it here. And then you have the gallon. That's only available in the fall.
Okay. I see. So, tell us about the website.
Oh, yeah, you can find us at tropicalharvestslushiesandjuices.com. I think we're blocking it. So you see, www.tropicalharvestslushiesandjuices.com, or for short, Tropical Harvest, HARVESTS.com.
Okay. So, for the person in, say, South Florida or any other parts of the United States, so they won't be able to get things shipped to them just yet.
Just yet.
But
It's in the process.
Yes.
We're on Amazon, we're on several marketplaces, but we're not able to carry the volume from the little pot and pan where we have.
okay.
Right? So give us until next year. We're working out the co-packing aspects of it, and it's not an easy process. And all of this I'm learning.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
I don't have anybody to pattern it. It's like I'm forging my way onto this.
So this is what you do full time now.
Yes.
This is just all about her company. She's young. She's getting started, but she already has a buzz here in the New York area. Like the juices are real good. So tell us some of the flavors again.
Pineapple ginger, beetroot and lemon, guava passion fruit, and Jamaican ginger sorrel.
Okay, and we have them in
The Rock, Jamaica Breeze, Patmar, locally in Queens, but on the website www.tropicalharvest.com. HARVESTS.com.
Okay, so there are loads of stage shows and
Yes,
concerts
fairs and festivals.
fairs and festivals. Look out for Tropical Harvest, okay? And if you're in the New York area, she already told you the stores, you can find them, support the business. Kishana, thanks for being on the program.
Thank you so
And
much. Thank you for having
we
me.
wish you tremendous success.
Thank you.
And support our own, straight out of Paul Bogle country, tropicalharvest.com, okay? Tropical Harvest, all kinds of flavors. And I love this, what's this again?
Guava passion fruit.
Guava passion, I love it. I can't stop drinking it. So there you have it, okay? Another one of our people from Paul Bogle country who's about to make some big waves in the natural juice industry, okay? And on that note, we are. You want to give any shout out to anybody?
Oh yes, I want to give a shout out to everybody in the St. Thomas. No say, believe in yourself and anything is possible.
All
Don't make nobody tell you nothing, you can't do it.
Anyway, you see we do big things. Paul Bogle country.
Absolutely. Yeah,
We
man.
out.
Yep.
Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the program. Please check out our apparel at thereallicense.com. And remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost any money unless you're just acting funny.
Haha, you hear what my baby said.